Hello my dear students, welcome to computer science class. Let us continue with our chapter, that is spreadsheet. In our previous video class we have completed with the various built-in functions of date and time. Today we are going to discuss about the logical functions. So what are the different logical functions we need to study here is and, or, not and if. So let us discuss the first one, that is and operation. And operation would return you the value as true if it satisfies its conditions. Like how many conditions it might be, 1, 2 or more. So depending upon how many conditions you are going to pass, if it is true, all the given conditions are true, then the overall result would be true. Let me consider an example. If the age is greater than or equal to 18 and the other condition is he is a citizen of India, he should be a citizen of India, then if both these conditions is true, then the overall result would be returned by the AND operation would be true actually. Now, suppose for the example, if the age is not greater than 18, if the age is not greater than 18 but he is a citizen of India, then the overall result would be false. So 0 indicates false here and 1 indicates as a true. Suppose for an example, if the age is greater than 18 and he is not a citizen of India, then also the overall result it would return as 0. The thing is, here in case of AND operation, both the condition has to satisfy. Okay, the first, how many conditions you are passing? So all. So age also should be greater than 18 and he should be the citizen of India, then it would return me the overall result as 1. I hope you are understanding. Moving on to the next one, that is if condition. What is this if condition? If condition would help you to check for a given condition is met or not. That means if the given condition, if it is satisfied, then the true part of the statement will be executed, else it would return the false part of the statement. Okay, so if condition is usually checked to whether the condition is satisfied or not. We shall discuss all these functions with an examples in further slides. Next, we need to discuss about the not. Not is a function that would reverse the logic of its statement. Suppose if I have the condition to be as a true, it would return me the answer as false. If I have the condition to be as false, it will return me the overall result as 1. Alright, so that is what the not function would reverses its logic. Let us discuss the next one, that is OR. What is the use of this OR function here? The OR function here, it checks whether any of its arguments are true. If so, it would return me the true, else it would return me the false. That means here as we have taken the condition, if the age is greater than or equal to 18 and if the person is not a citizen of India, still it would return me the answer as true, because in case of OR condition, if either of the condition, if it is satisfying, the overall result would be true. What if the age is not greater than 18, okay, and he is a citizen of India, still he is eligible to vote. And even if both the conditions are satisfying, the overall result we get here as true. The difference between the and or, the and will be returning the value as true when both the conditions satisfies. The or will return its value as true if either of the condition satisfies and both the conditions satisfies. So these were the logical function. We shall discuss one by one in brief here. The first we are going to discuss about the if condition. So herein, what is the syntax of if condition is? So first we know the formula should begin with an equals to sign. Is equals to if followed by its general syntax here, the condition. If it is true, it would return me the true statement, else it would return me the false statement. Here is an example. Let us consider in the A1 cell, in my Excel sheet, in the A1 cell, I have the value as 9. Then how I am going to write the formula for to have the if condition is equals to if. What is my condition? Whether A1 is equals to 1. If it is so, then it should return me the true statement. Else it should return me the false statement. Now according to this, A1 is having the value as 9. So according to this, the condition fails for me. So in that case, it would return me the value as 8 as an answer. Moving on to the nested if. The nested if is nothing but an if within another if. We actually refer it as an nested if here. Now let us see this one example so that you can get clear understanding of how to use a nested if. So here we have a cell A1, in that we are having the value as 88. What I am checking here, if A1 is greater than or is equal to 90. According to this, 88 is greater than or is equal to 90. So if this satisfies, what is the true part of this statement is this one. What is the false part of this particular condition is another if statement. So isn't it we are having an if statement within another if? So according to this, 88 is greater than or equal to 90, the condition is false. Definitely the control would come to the false part. In the false part, we have another if statement. Now again we have a condition to check here. Whether 88 is greater than or equal to 80. Yes, your condition is true. In that case, the true part of your statement will be executed and I will get the answer to be as B. What if the even cell was consisting of 78? Then for obviously false part of the statement would be printed as C. So this is how we can have the nested if statement like this. Up to 7 ifs you can nest. Up to 7 ifs we can nest in just a single statement. Okay. Now let us move on to the next function here as trunc function. What is the use of this trunc function? Suppose if I have a number like 99.9999, like that, up to 5 numbers I have, but I don't want to weave so many numbers after the decimal point. So I just want to weave after the decimal point hardly 2 numbers I would like to weave. Then you can use the built-in function called as trunc. So trunc is a function that would truncates. That means it removes the number to an integer by removing the decimal or the fraction or a part of the number. So what is the general syntax here? Is equal to followed by the function name. In its argument we need to pass the number, actual number, and then how many number of digits you would like to weave after the decimal digit. Now here is an example where A1 is having 125.8965. So when I pass this in the trunc function A1 comma 3, that means 3 indicates that after the decimal point how many numbers values I need to weave. So this would return me the answer as 125.896 it would return. But what if I had given pass like this, if I had given A1 comma 0, if I had given A1 comma 0, if I had given this way, then it would return me only 125. That means if you are specifying the argument as 0 here, it indicates that you doesn't want to weave any kind of decimal. What if I had given A1 comma 1, then it would return me 125.8. Clear? That's all about the trunc function. Moving on to the next function here, that is mod function. As we all know, mod function is a one that would give you the remainder after the number is divided by a divisor. Then what is a general syntax in the Excel? That is equals to mod the number comma the divisor. Now here is an example, is equals to mod 50 comma 10. When you do 50 comma 10, so obviously the remainder I would get as 0 because 10 5s are 50. Similarly, when I have this mod operation 11 comma 2, okay, that is 2 5s are 10, the remainder I get it here as 1, isn't it? So this is how you have to use the built-in function, that is mod. Next we have is ampersand. Suppose if you want to join the two different text, then we need to use this particular ampersand to concatenate the two text. So I'll be showing all these examples in the Excel sheet by executing. Okay, so let us see the different problems on trunc, mod and ampersand. So before we start this, let me show the previous examples, like how does the if, or, and not works. Let us come to the Excel file here. So here is an Excel file. the logical functions. Now herein, for our calculation in this particular cell, when I click onto the cell, you will get to know, see here, what is the cell number? This is H4, this is H column, and you see here the row number is 4. So what is the cell number here? It is H4, and that you can see it in the name box. And Fx, this is a formula bar. This formula bar, it is telling you that this is just a number. Similarly, I have taken in I4, there is another number known as 500. Okay, now here I am going to show you how exactly the AND function will work. So here in C, look at the formula. So this is just merely a text. Now here when you click at this particular location, that is in the H6, I have written some formula to perform the AND function. Look at the formula, what it is. So is equals to AND whether H4 is equal to 100, comma, then what is my next condition? My next condition I have given whether I4 is equals to 500. I'll repeat. Here I am checking whether H4, isn't it, this is an H4, whether H4 is equal to 100 and whether I4 is equal to 500. I have written past this particular condition because as per this both the condition will satisfy. Therefore, when I click that and when I click enter, I got the answer to be as true. Okay. Similarly, when I click on to the next formula, what I gave the condition whether H4 is equals to 100 and whether I4 is equals to 600. If you carefully observe, the first condition is satisfying for us, the second condition is not satisfying, wherein the actual value was 500, but here I am asking to check for 600. The condition is false. Therefore, I got an overall result to be as false. I hope you are understanding. Now, let us move on to the next function over here. That is OR function. What is this OR function? Let us see this. Is equals to, I have placed a cursor over here where I have written the formula. Is equals to OR whether H4 is equals to 100, I am checking. H4 is equal to 100, yes, the condition satisfied. Whether I4 is equal to 500, yes, your condition satisfied. When both the conditions are satisfied, therefore the overall result I got it as true. So then what about the next one formula here? I am checking here whether H4, the same one, whether H4 is equals to 900. This particular condition fails for me. The very next condition you just check whether I4 is equal to 500. This condition satisfies. So either of the one is satisfying. Therefore, I got the overall results to be as true here. Alright. Moving on to the next one here. That is how did I get the false value? Look at this formula. Is equals to or whether H4 is equals to 900, condition is false, and whether I4 is equal to 1000, the condition, both the conditions are false. When both the conditions are false, definitely I am getting the overall results to be as false here. I hope you are able to understand. So herein I'll just change the color so that it will be visible. Okay. Here also I'll just change the color, text color. Yes, look at this if statement. How did I get this particular text? Okay. See, in our previous examples, we have seen to print A, B, if it is this is condition satisfied, or printing some value. Now, here is an example. The if condition. How did I write the formula? Is equals to if what is my test condition? The first what you are able to see here is my test condition. Whether H4 is equal to 100. If it is so, then the true part what I am trying to print in the text that it is a 100, comma. If it is false, if H4 is not equal to 100, then it should print me that it's not a 100. Now let me execute here and show you. So what I do is if is equals to if. Okay, I have here, I'll click on to the tab. If what is my logical test? I would like to test for this particular condition. So if I just click onto that, I'll get the cell number. Whether I4 is equals to, I'm going to check whether it is 1000. If it is so, then it should print me as, okay, it should print me as it is 1000. Alright, comma, else it should print me as, one second, So it should print me as it is not 1000. Since it is a text, we need to enclose in the double quotes and press enter. See how does the if statement is working? So what did I write it here? If I4 is equals to 1000, but actually what is the I4 value? I4 value is 500. Then if it is true, then it will print it's a 1000. False part, it is not a 1000. I can even change. What I'll do is I4, I can change the value to the 500. Change the value here as 500 and click on enter. See, now it is printing me that it is a 1000. Like this, the if condition would work. Moving on to the next one, that is not condition. Look at here the not condition. So when I place a cursor over here, in the formula bar, I can weave the what formula did I write, so that I got here the answer to be as false. So look at this one. I'm checking the condition whether I4 is equal to 500. We all know that I4 is equal to that is 500. We all know this particular cell is having 500. But since you have applied the not condition here, what I'm getting the answer? I'm getting it as false because it is negating. Okay, it is reversing the state of that particular logic. So therefore I got here as false. It is saying actually I4 is equal to 500. Since you are negating, it is giving me the false answer. Now similarly to the next one, when I place a cursor to this location, see here whether H4 is equal to 1000. Actually we know that H4 is equal to 100. But H4 is equal to 1000, we know the condition is false. It should return me as false. But since you are negating it, it is returning me as true. I hope you are clear with the examples. Moving on to the nested if students here. So here I have in the cell that is L4, I have the value as 88. And in the M4, I have the value as 99.999 here. Now here is what the nested if demonstration I am showing you. When you place a cursor over here, look at the formula in the formula bar. What did I write? Whether L4 is greater than or equal to 90. What does actually L4 is having? L4 is having the 88 here. Whether if L4 is greater than or equal to 90, print me the value as A. This condition is false here. Once the condition is false, the other part of your executing. Whether other part, we have another if here. If L4 is greater than or equal to 80, print me the true part to be as B, else print me the false part to be as C. According to this is 88. 88 is greater than 80, then I got the B value. Okay, now let me change the values here. I'll just place a cursor here. Now this time I'm going to take this particular value. So instead of L4, what do I take is, I'll just remove it and I'll take this particular cell number. And here in case of L4, the next half also, I'll take the same and then click on to the enter. I'm just changing the cell number, that's it. See, look at this one. I got the answer to be as A. Because the very first one, what it is checking? 99. M4 is having 99.99. 99.99, is it greater than or equal to 90? Yes, condition is true. Therefore, the true part of the statement is to be printed as A. That is what I got it here as A. Clear? Yes. Moving on to the next function over here, it is a trunc function. So when I place a cursor over here at the trunc function, look at here, M4 comma 3 I have given. That is the reason I am able to see as 99.999. What if I make it as a 0 here? So when you make it 0, I am getting the value to be as 99. Clear? Moving on to the next one here, the modulus operation. Modulus, we know it returns you the remainder. So what did I pass the arguments here? Is equals to mod 100 comma 10. We know 10 tens are 100. So I get the remainder to be 0. That's what I got here, the remainder to be as 0. Similarly, when I place the cursor over here, look at the formula bar here. Here now I'm passing the values as 15 comma 2. Okay, so we know that 2 5s are 10. Okay, so here I have given, 15 and 2 here. 2 7s are 14, we know. Definitely I have got the remainder to be as 1. What if I take another value here? Is equals to mod. Okay, is equals to mod. I'll place here number. What I want the number 22, comma I'll pass the value as 3 and click on enter. See, I got the remainder. We know 3 sevens are 21, we know. So I get the remainder here as 1. So these are the few examples that we have to discussed about the logical function. Now let us see the problems based upon the logical functions. How do we solve the given problems? That is there in our next sheet here. So these are the problems, children. I hope the content is visible for you. Okay. Now herein we shall see, I'll just increase it, the font. Make it as bold. I hope the content is visible. I'm just increasing the font size over here. Alright. So here is a problem. How many dozens are there in 106 units? So before to that, let us see the slides over here so that you can clearly understand here. See how many dozens are there in 106 units. So we need to have the function. So A1 is equals to 106. Now herein what I am doing is I am performing the the trunk operation. Trunk operation is equals to. So why did I take the trunk function only? See, what I do is here is equals to A1 divided by 10. Sorry, A1 divided by 12. So let me show you here how the calculation happens using this particular formula here. So what we know is how many dozens are there in 106 units. So 106, okay, divided by how much it is? 12, correct? So how much are 12 8s are, we know 96. So 12 8s are 96 when we have. What do I get the remainder here as 10? By this trunk function, I didn't mention here A1 divided by 12. When I say this, it will give me only the integer value. So only integer value, what it gives is, it gives you me as 8. So I got to know that I got here the value as 8. That actually means 8 dozens. It should be 8 dozens. And what will be the remainder? 10. So this cannot be made as 1 dozen, right? So what will be my answer? 8 dozens and 10. So this is how I want 8 dozens and 10 units. But to get this integer value, I have to use a function known as trunk. Now what should I do to get that value as 10, the remainder? To get this remainder, I should use the mod. So you can club more than one functions, inbuilt functions, in order to solve the given problem. So mod will return you the number, how many number of units are left out when the total number is divided by 12. When you perform this modulus operation, then what did I get the remainder to be as 10 here? So how do I write? If I want this in correct way, 8 dozens and 10 units. This is how I want to display my answer when the question is given as how many number of dozens are there in 106 units. I would get 8 by performing the trunk operation. I would get 10 by performing the modulus operation. But apart from this, I just want to have the text also in this way. Then how do we write a formula? Just have a look here. Is equals to trunk. So A1 is consisting of 106, right? So here A1 divided by 12. Here at this place, I got the value as 8, children here. Next, I'm using the ampersand. As I said, ampersand is a one which will help you to concatenate the strings, concatenate the text. Okay, so this ampersand will join the next text with the previous. So ampersand, since we have a text here, it should be always double closed, it should be enclosed within the double quotes here. Therefore you have to use this particular symbol and then mention what text you would like to concatenate or what text you would like to attach. So write it there, and then after dozens and we have the next formula. The next formula has to get concatenated to the very previous text. Therefore, again we have to use the ampersand operator, then followed by your next formula what you have to perform here. So therefore, right now at this particular point it will print me as 8 dozens. Okay, and then by this formula I will get as 10. Again we have the next text to be printed, so what I should do, again I should use the ampersand and then followed by whatever text should be enclosed within the double quotes. So we can club more than one built-in function in order to solve the problems, and with the help of ampersand we can have an appropriate text with the values. I hope you are able to understand. Moving on to the next one here, the next problem. Okay, how many dozens are there in the 96 units? So this is very simple. So as we know 96, how many are there in the sense, like for example divided. First we have to use the trunc function. When you use the trunc function, 12, how much are 12 8s, we know it is a 96, correct? When you perform this division operation, what do I get here actually? The remainder to be as 0. Is it appropriate for us to print as 8 dozens and 0 units? It's wrong form. Like previous only you may think that the previous formula I can use, but when you perform trunc operation I get the value as 8, but when you perform the mod I get the value as 0. So this is not the way of representing. Now how do I have written the formula? Look at this. If mod, when you perform the modulus operation, that is 96 comma 12, if your modulus operation, if it is returning, is in the sense 0 if it is returning, then this is a if condition. What will be the true part? If it is 0 if it is returning, then the true part of the statement has to execute. What it is? You need to perform the trunc operation. From here I am getting the value as 8, and then ampersand, I am joining the test and I am printing what? Dozens. That's it, and I am printing that 8 dozens. What if your modulus function is not returning the value as 0? If the remainder, for example, I'll take the remainder to be as 1 here. If this condition doesn't satisfy, then once this condition is not satisfying, definitely we come to the false part. So what is there in the false part? False part, we perform the regular trunc function by using the ampersand. I'm printing the dozens, and I'm performing the modulus operation and then concatenating with another text known as units. Therefore, when I execute this particular formula, I will get only the answer to be as 8 dozens as per this particular formula, because as per this here, in the previous I had resulted in 10 units, children. When you the same formula here, same formula if you apply for this, like how many units are there in 106 units, and the same formula if you had it done here, the previous value modulus was not resulting in 0, it was resulting in 10 units, correct? So in that case it will skip this true part of the statement and the control would jump to this part of the statement and it will try to execute. But here we have resulted in the 0 units. So if it is so, then only execute the first part. What is your first part? This is only the first part. You can see the comma, it is a separator. This indicates the true part and this half indicates it's the false part. I hope you are understanding how to solve the problems with a mod and trunc. So I'll just show it in the Excel file over here. See how many dozens are there in 106 units. So in this particular cell, that is G4, I have taken the value. Now here when I place my cursor, here I have written a formula. So is equals to trunc G4 divided by 12, okay, ampersand, then dozens, and I have given a text. Again I have joined with a ampersand here, and then I have written a formula for mod function, and again I have joined the units. When I write this particular formula and just click on to the enter, I get that 8 dozens and 10 units. Similarly, when it comes to the 96 here, look at the formula. Same formula I have written as per this 106 I have calculated. No, the same thing I have written here. But this time the cell number is what? G9, no? So here I have just changed it with the G9 divided by 12. The same formula when I apply, I get actually 8 dozens and 0 units. This is not the proper way of representing. So therefore, when I place a cursor over here, what formula I have written is, first I am checking whether modulus is returning 0. with the help of if condition. If this condition is satisfying for me, therefore I could only execute the true part of the statement as the trunk and then followed by dozens. I hope you are understanding all these problems. Now let us move on to the financial functions over here. What are these financial functions? See, these financial functions are extensively used in various applications like banking industries, calculation purpose. Okay, in different industries they are being getting used. So like how we have a built-in functions, logical functions, state functions, like that we have the financial functions. The first financial function that we are going to discuss is about the rate function. Suppose you have a loan amount of 24,000 and you know the monthly payment you have to make around of 550 rupees and you have to pay it for 4 years. 4 years in the sense 48 months, per year 12. Okay, like that if you calculate 4 years means 48 months. So what will be the rate of interest? To calculate the rate of interest, we have the formula here. See, the rate function would return you the interest rate for the annuity. Okay, when I execute this particular formula, what is the general syntax? Is equals to rate followed by the number of payments. That means how many number of months you need to make a payment to repay back your loan amount. Obviously, when you have taken the loan amount of 24,000, when you repay it back, definitely it will be more than 24,000. Okay, maybe you are repaying back with 26,000 you are paying. That means to repay the 26,000, how many number of payments you need to make? That means how many months or how many years you need to make the payments. That is what is number of payments. Understood? Next we have the here argument as payment. What is this payment? What is the monthly payment you have to make in order to repay back amount? See, for 24,000, as I said, if you calculate with the rate of interest for 5% and all, the answer I get here as 550 rupees. So that is a constant payment you are making for every month. That factor actually is nothing but a payment. Next we have a PV. PV is nothing but the present value. Present value is the loan amount that what you have taken. Next we have the future value. Future value will come, it is an optional here. The one which has been enclosed in the square brackets, it's an optional. See, this future value will come into picture when you have made an investment, not a loan. So when you make an investment around of, you want to go for the recurring deposit for every month you would like to pay for 1,000 rupees. Okay, with a 5% of interest for 5 years you want to pay. So after 5 years, what amount you are going to attain, that is what is future value. So here when you are calculating the rate of interest, when you are taken the loan amount, the future value becomes an optional. If any parameter is an optional, it has been enclosed in the square bracket. So to calculate the rate of interest for a loan amount of 24,000, the constant payment of 550 rupees, and then the number of years, how many number of payments you need to make. When you know that factor, easily we can calculate the rate function. Therefore, I have given here the number of payments is the number of payments for the annuity. Annuity in the sense year wise. How many payments you need to make year wise? Like 12 payments you need to make per each payment. Each month if you are making, then you have per year you are making 12 payments. Like for like that 4 years, how many payments you are making? Like 48 payments you are making. Clear? Then what is a payment? Payment is the amount of the payment made each period. That means it is the amount that you have to make a payment. Like 550 I said, every month 550 you need to pay to the bank. That is what is a payment. PV stands for present value. That's your principal amount or the loan amount, as I said. FV stands for your future value. Clear? This is what is the formula to calculate the rate function. Moving on to the next one here. PMT function. What is this PMT function? PMT function, it is the function that returns the payment amount for a loan based on an interest rate and a constant payment schedule. See, for example, the loan amount is 24,000. You know that you have to make a payment for 48 months. That means 4 years you need to make, and the rate of interest is 5%. Then you have to calculate what is that constant amount that you have to make a payment for the bank every time. That is function name is known as PMT function. PMT function, if you write this formula, that is rate of interest as 5%, comma, the number of payments as 48 months, comma, the PV value 24,000. Just you give these parameters, automatically it will give you the value what you have to repay back to the bank every month. It will calculate and give you as 550 rupees. You need not to do any manual calculation. You just need to pass the values depending upon the data what you have. Place all your data in particular cell numbers according to the formula. Just pass the parameters. These inbuilt function itself will calculate you the answers and give. So this is PMT is nothing but it is the payment amount that you have to make every month to the bank. It's a constant payment depending upon the rate of interest, depending upon the number of payments, and depending upon what is your that is a present value or how much amount of loan you have taken. That is all about the PMT function. Let us move on to the next one to calculate for the future value, that is FV. So future value, what if you have made an investment, not a loan amount, if you have made an investment. See, FV is a future value of an investment that is based upon an interest rate and a constant payment schedule. Suppose for example, you go to the bank and you want to have an investment. Every month you want to pay around 2,000 rupees for 2 years you want to pay. Then obviously when you say for 2 years 2,000 rupees you would like to pay, then definitely you will ask the bank person what value or what amount I may get after 2 years. That means in order to calculate that future value, what you may attain that particular value, to calculate that we have a built-in function known as FV function, wherein you have to give the rate of amount. So maybe the bank is giving you the rate of interest as 5%, and they're asking you to make the number of payments for 2 years, means how many? 24 months. If you pass that, and how much amount you want to make a payment of 2,000. So like this, if you pass the required parameters values here, automatically it will give you the future value what you are going to attain. So maybe after 2 years you may get the around 24,000 into, if you are doing for 12 years, if you are 2,000 amount for 24 months if you are going to do, then you may attain for 48,000 actually. So bank will add some interest rate. They may give around 52,000, or depending upon the rate of interest what they are giving, 5%, 10%. Okay. Moving on to the next one, the last function of financial function, that is NPER. NPER is nothing but it will give you the number of periods for an investment based upon the interest rate and a constant payment schedule. See, when you go for an investment, there will be particular schemes, like for 5 years you can go for the investment, for 3 years you can go for investment, okay, for 1 year you can go for investment. So if for 1 year, 5 years, like how many years, how many number of payment, how many number of periods you want, how many months you need to make a payment to attain certain value. Okay, suppose if you want around 5 lakh if you want out of an investment, then you have to know how many months or how many years you need to make a payment to the bank with a constant amount. So they say like 2,000 you need to make a constant amount if for how many 5 years, if they say. So how do you decide if you want 5 lakh rupees, you want to make a payment of 2,000 rupees. So then how many years if you pay, you may attain the value as 5 lakh rupees. So to calculate the number of periods, that means the time duration to calculate how much you need to make a payment for how many number of months or the years, then we have to use a function known as NPER function. Now herein we need to just pass on the rate of interest, maybe 10% payment you would like to make for 2,000 rupees you want to make, and for the present value how much you want to you want to have an investment, maybe for around 5 lakh you want, or 3 lakh, then it will give you the total number of months how much you want to make. You have to make a payment to achieve to that particular investment ransom amount. So that is what is a NPER function. So I hope students all these concepts are clear to you. Thank you students. Take care of yourself. We shall discuss few more concepts in our next video class.